I am Hiram Karthedon, scribe of the western winds, child of a harbor where sails once rose like the wings of bronze-feathered birds. I walked quays carved by forgotten hands, heard merchants bargain in tongues older than empires, and watched a city of salt and fire grow into a force that bent the sea to its will. Today, traveler, I open the story of Carthage. Not the monster painted by Roman fears, not the myth of cruelty whispered by victors, but the Carthage I knew, a realm built on commerce, strengthened by cunning, and undone by the weight of its own ambition. Come closer. The tide is rising. The old harbors remember. Chapter 1. The Dawn in Tyrian Purple. Before Carthage was a name feared across the sea, it was simply a daughter of Tyre, a distant outpost planted by Phoenician sailors who trusted the horizon more than any king. Our founders were not conquerors. They were navigators, traders, dreamers, people who believed that wealth flowed not from swords, but from movement. They arrived on a quiet bay, where the water curled like polished glass and the land rose gently toward fertile fields. There they built walls of sun-baked stone and lit fires to signal ships still wandering the dark. The world calls our first queen Dido. We called her something softer, Elissa, a woman who escaped tyranny and carved sanctuary out of foreign earth. She brought order. She brought purpose, and she brought the Tyrian gift that would define us, trade. Under her guidance, Carthage learned to breathe not with the rhythm of harvests, but with the pulse of the open sea. We were not yet an empire. We were a promise, a spark in the west, waiting for wind. Chapter 2. The harbor that fed a nation. If our gods favored us, it was not with miracles, but with a shape, a circle, a perfect curve of stone embracing water like a shield, the inner harbor. To outsiders, it was legend. To us, it was home. Merchants from Cyprus, Sicily, Iberia, all anchored beneath its shadow and unloaded worlds upon our docks, silver, tin, amber, wheat, spices, and tablets inscribed with stories and debts. Carthage did not grow because we desired dominance. It grew because the world needed a place where East and West could meet without swords drawn. And as wealth swelled, so did our pride. We built workshops that rang with metal on metal. We forged purple dyes worth more than gold. We mastered agriculture so deeply that barren fields bloomed under our hands. The city stretched outward like a lion waking from sleep. Yet even lions draw rivals. Chapter 3. The First Shadows. Sicily, the island of unending struggle. No realm rises without resistance, and ours appeared across a narrow channel of water, Sicily. A land rich in grain and stone, fought over by Greeks and Phoenicians long before Carthage rose. At first we arrived to trade, then to protect our traders, then to defend those protections. And soon the island became an anvil on which two cultures hammered their destinies. The Greeks were fierce, city-states forged in rivalry, united only by pride and a hatred of foreign claim. We fought them not for conquest, but because the sea demanded it, because whoever held Sicily held the western roots. Years turned into generations. Victories bled into defeats. We built strongholds, they burned them. They built colonies, we starved them. And yet, in that endless dance of war, Carthage learned something vital. The sea is wide, but power is narrow. To protect trade, we would need more than wealth. We would need a fleet that shadowed the horizon. Chapter 4. The Iron Tide, when Carthage became a naval giant. There came a season when Carthage decided to master the very element upon which it lived. Ships multiplied. Oars lifted in unison like the ribs of some colossal beast. We studied the triremes of Greece, then improved them, widening their beams, strengthening their prows, teaching hulls to slice through storms that made others pray. In the circular harbor, our admirals trained crews with relentless precision. Farmers, fishermen, mercenaries, all molded into instruments of discipline. We did not win battles with bravado. We won them with pattern, timing, geometry. By the time the Greeks realized how deeply we had transformed, the Western Sea was no longer theirs to challenge. Carthage was ascendant, a maritime empire carried not by citizens, but by trade, tribute, and the cunning of its councils. But power bought with wealth demands endless wealth to sustain it. And that is where the first cracks whispered. Chapter 5. The Merchant Lords, when gold shapes the state. Our governance was unlike that of other nations. There was no single throne, no divine king to kneel before. Instead, councils, elders, merchant families whose fortunes weighed heavier than any crown ever forged. They were brilliant, efficient, calculating. Under them, Carthage became an engine of profit. Ships leaving at dawn, returning at dusk, every voyage another artery feeding the heart of the city. But wealth has a quiet venom. It convinces a civilization that comfort is safety, that influence replaces discipline, that mercenaries can stand where citizens should. I served scribes who recorded grain shipments, military levies, tribute obligations, numbers stacked like bricks in a wall meant to hold back disaster. But walls built of ledgers cannot stop storms, and a storm was forming. Not in Sicily this time, but across the sea. Rome, a village turned republic, growing hungrier by the year. Two powers rising in the same world rarely walk separate paths. Chapter 6. The First Roman Wind, Rivalry Without End. I remember the first rumors of Roman ambitions. At first we dismissed them. A landlocked people, clumsy at sea, more concerned with Italian quarrels than distant trade routes. But Rome learned fast, faster than we expected. Faster than we prepared for. The First Punic War began not with grand declarations, but with small misunderstandings in a Sicilian town whose name no one remembers. Carthage believed Rome would tire. Rome believed Carthage would yield. Both were wrong. The war lasted a generation. Our ships burned, their legions drowned. Yet neither side broke. We offered treaties, they offered terms. We refused, they persisted. And slowly, painfully, the sea we once ruled began to tilt toward their discipline. Rome paid for ships from citizens' pockets. We hired mercenaries from distant lands. When Rome suffered defeat, it grew more united. When we suffered defeat, our councils argued over who would bear the cost. Rome pushed to exhaustion. Carthage bled coin. When the war finally ended, we did not fall. But something inside us bent. Chapter 7. The Rise of Hamilcar, when fire breathed again. Carthage does not stay humbled for long. From defeat rose a commander whose presence reignited the spirit of our people, Hamilcar Barca. I watched him address soldiers with a voice like a knife drawn slowly from its sheath. calm, measured, unshakable. He crossed into Iberia to rebuild what was lost, not with gold, but with iron. Under his guidance, Carthage expanded through rivers and mountains that seemed impossible to tame. Iberian tribes bent to his will. Silver mines fed our coffers again. But more important than wealth was the fire he passed to his sons. One of them carried that fire farther than any man before him. You know his name. The world still whispers it. Hannibal. But the story of Hannibal is not the story of Carthage's rise. It is the story of its reckoning. And that tale belongs to another day. Chapter 8. What we built and what remains. Traveler, before we close this chronicle, remember this. Carthage did not rise because it sought empire. It rose because the sea rewards those who understand its language. We mastered currents, winds, trade routes. We forged alliances not with swords, but with contracts, marriages, shared greed. We built a navy that frightened storms. We crafted harbors that astonished engineers centuries later. We blended cultures without erasing them. We thrived not because we conquered, but because we connected. And yet, connection is fragile. Balance is fleeting. When gold replaces discipline, when councils replace unity, when ambition grows faster than identity, a realm begins to tremble. Carthage rose like a tide, and like all tides, it would one day recede. But not yet, not here. This is our ascent, our moment of bronze-shined pride. What remains? Our ships faded, our walls burned, our name slandered by victors. But our legacy, navigation, commerce, maritime mastery, became the backbone of every sea power that followed. The world speaks Latin now, but it sails like a Carthaginian. This, wanderer, is the tale I have carried for you. A memory of winds and water, of merchants who became kings, and of a city that dared to bind the horizon in its grasp. If you wish to walk deeper into forgotten ages, to hear the creak of ancient ships, to see harbors lost beneath dust, to witness the rise and ruin of worlds time has nearly erased, then lend your voice. A like, a comment, a sign that these stories still matter. I thank you. Until we meet again, on the shores where Carthage once stood, and where its echoes still linger for those who listen.